there's a reason people like in the West are starting to draw more and more towards Korean or Japanese filmmaking.
Yeah, what is the most recent Japanese film or at least entertainment that you enjoyed so far? If you remember any.
What am I thinking of? See, a lot of them would be older ones, like Old Boy, for example. I really enjoyed that one. I know it's not Japanese, but yeah, probably stuff like that. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, I really like that. I know it's like Chinese, I think. But yeah, like it's
Will Jordan, aka the Critical Drinker. If you have spent any time in the YouTube movie space, then you've undoubtedly been recommended one of his videos before. You've probably even watched one or two. He is a Scottish author known for his Ryan Drake book series. They appear to be a variant on Jack Ryan and Jason Bourne and numerous other examples in popular literature, and the overall success of these books is unclear. His fans talk about them a lot, but I myself have never seen one on a bookshelf. Now, all of this is rather incidental because his real success is as the Critical Drinker. His YouTube channel has over
1.85
million subscribers, and his videos, which are typically released a couple of times a week, regularly get 1 million views and often gets much more. He also has additional channels where he'll do live streams and content fairly similar to content on his main channel, which is on an alternative channel for reasons that aren't really clear. However, his popularity is constantly growing. From script to video, it's likely his numbers will be even higher than reported here. And it wouldn't even be a hot take to call him the most popular media critic on the platform.
What's up, internet? It's the Critical Drinker here. I'm just getting ready to fly home to Scotland, but no trip to America would be complete without a little
school shooting.
In his videos, he plays a drunk man reviewing a movie trailer or just some random media news, and if you only watch a few of his videos, then you may not have a lot of thoughts about him. In fact, he has many videos that are simply movie reviews that, while not particularly deep, they do the job of expressing his ideas on the media. His movie reviews appear fairly standard in their ratio of good to bad, praising media like Arcane, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Batman, and many, many more. However, there is usually an interesting statement by him that stands out in his positive reviews that seem a bit unnecessary and off.
This movie would almost certainly have been some kind of coming-of-age story centered around Joy instead of Evelyn. Just another generic plot about a young woman's quest to find herself and realise her potential in a bland and uncaring world. And well, thank fuck the writers went a different route with this one. Evelyn is a fantastic character that's so much more layered and interesting than any bland, directionless Gen Z could ever hope to be.
What?
There seems to be a bit of a debate going on about whether or not this movie is woke. If I was a cynical man, I'd say it's kind of interesting that the rich, corrupt scumbags targeted by the Riddler all happen to be straight, white, middle-aged men, but hey, I guess that's just a total coincidence.
These are weird comments since one of the main points of Everything Everywhere All at Once was a mother learning to understand and accept her Gen Z daughter. And statistically, in the United States, the vast majority of rich people are white men. It also seems like points that are irrelevant to the movie at large.
But they are not irrelevant to the Critical Drinker's target audience. Do us a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more content like this. The irrelevant points become even more prominent when you look at his trailer reviews. Take his review of the Ms. Marvel trailer. He uses this trailer to condemn the entire series. Ms. Marvel trailer, how not to build a hero. How can he possibly know how they build Ms. Marvel? By the title's own admission, this is a trailer review. A trailer is not the same as the finished product. Why condemn a whole series in a trailer review for an aspect that is impossible to know before you actually watch the series? It was similar to the She-Hulk trailer. His video, simply She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, LOL, no. I would actually argue that's not as bad of a title, because if you watch a trailer and think, that piece of media isn't for you, that is actually a fine takeaway. You do not have to watch every trailer and every piece of media. In fact, nobody does that. So to simply watch a trailer and say that doesn't look good is a 100% reasonable position. But this is where it gets even weirder, because a day before the series released, he did a video framed as a review. It was literally just him bashing the series for some promotional clips that had been released. If this trailer so disinterested you, why are you watching promotional clips and spending hours formulating a script and producing a video on said promotional clips? Then he does 2 videos on his main channel reviewing the show. If you thought the trailer looked bad and thought the clips looked bad, why watch the show? There is literally so much media released in the world. Just watch something else and maybe find something you'll like. Add to it, he did 7 videos on his second channel bashing the show. That's a grand total of 10 videos done bashing a show after saying he's disinterested. Why would he do this to himself? Is he some sort of masochist?
Well, the She-Hulk videos provide an interesting glimpse into the ideas he's presenting, because many of his criticisms of that series boil down to it being a female power fantasy, which is a weird thing to attack the show for, since a brief look at his channel shows that he loves the 80s films from actors like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. Movies about big muscular men beating up numerous bad guys in a very cool, stylized way. Hell, most people dig those movies. Stallone during the 80s learned to be a pretty damn solid director. Meanwhile, Arnold worked with some of the best directors of the time, like James Cameron, Paul Verhoeven, John McTiernan, and Ivan Reitman. Those 2 actors have made a lot of good movies in their career with their muscular bodies and quippy one-liners. So why is a male power fantasy fine, but for some reason, a female power fantasy is an automatic bad thing?
It seems like nobody really cares about She-Hulk.
But that's why the critical drinker is not only a bad critic, but a bad influence on culture in general. The more you watch, the more it becomes clear that he has an agenda. And that agenda has nothing to do with being a fair and honest media critic, but rather to push the idea that women in non-traditional roles are somehow a bad thing. The idea that somehow because straight white men are mildly less prominent in starring media roles nowadays, that this is automatically a bad thing, is a dumb idea. And while it is true that straight white men are less likely to be starring in a movie than they used to, this change is actually very slight. Spider-Man No Way Home, Avatar The Way of Water, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and Top Gun Maverick are all massive movie successes since the COVID-19 pandemic, and all of them star straight white men. Straight white men still have ample representation, but just every once in a while there will be a popular property that the idea that we can all be equal and share in the spotlight seems pretty good to me. Apparently it doesn't seem that way to Will Jordan.
But attacking women for being in non-traditional roles isn't his only angle. And it was very helpful of him to make a video essay going over his other angle to bash media. Why modern movies suck. They hate men. Part 1. In this video, he makes the claim that Hollywood is emasculating men. Some of his examples include Luke Skywalker from Last Jedi, James Bond from the Daniel Craig series, and Jaskier, The Witcher. His complaints are bizarre.
What you can't do is lie about how the film constructs moments like these on a mechanical level, and that's what the drinker does here to cap off his video.
If you're gonna pull something apart, at least break it down accurately. There's no need for this kind of nonsense, especially when the critical drinker wants to come at things from a perceived high ground.
Don't you see how this is just the inverse of what Anita Sarkeesian was doing a few years back?
The critical drinker is a dishonest hack. This guy doesn't actually have any real opinions. He will change his opinions in a flash. He will cover up things he said in the past that make him look stupid.
The truth is, the drinker has created a boogeyman. The modern audience is a malleable, fluid catch-all that he can blame in any and all situations. But most importantly, it's a boogeyman that his audience loves to hate.
Let's rattle off some examples of these fucking hyper-emotional, piss-baby, fucking fragile men in movies these days, right? Like Perp is saying here, John Wick, more like John Bitch, you know?
Probably stuff like that. What am I thinking of? But yeah, like it's. I know, it's like Chinese, I think.